He's from the Bronx, where I'm from, so I'm really excited to just get the conversation started. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to JHS Interviews, Amaurys Grullon. Yo, yo. Yeah. I hear you say that.
What's up, everyone?
I hear you say yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, should I say that? Is that all right? Like, I don't want to I'm not taking your tagline. I'm just,
It
belongs
to the people. It belongs to the people, man. So definitely.
I'm just joining in. So listen, I know last time you were here, you were coming in from a trip and you kind of delayed, but you made it on, and we actually had a great conversation.
Yes,
but it was kind of in and out.
With all the.
Yeah, but it was still great, and I said to myself, oh, he's got to come back because it was just it was too good. And so I thank you for being here. I appreciate you. So are you officially open right now?
Yes. So we're back open, my man. We open on the 16th, Tuesday. Yes, we're open, man. We opened up the shop. We fixed it up. We got some merch in there. It was we're here in New York City. We're still in phase 2 currently, waiting for phase 3. And it is what it is, man. We had to open up somehow, because we're there. We're paying rent for the space, and the people needed it, and we needed it. So yeah,
absolutely.
We saved the shop. So
that's so great. I mean, congratulations on that, because I know that was not a easy task, especially when the situation like that happens. People aren't going to go out and start buying stuff. You know what I mean? People get too scared. They go out and buy toilet paper. They go out and buy dumb shit, that they don't really need that much of. So, but it's good that you were able to do that. And so definitely congratulations on that.
Thank you, Brody. Appreciate that.
You got it. So let me ask you a question. Yes. You're also involved in a lot of other things. I went to your website, and I went to a few other
personal website.
Your website, like your personal website. Yeah. So of course the native one, the Bronx Native one, I've seen many times, but there was some stuff that I was like, oh, let me just Google, and I like to do that to make sure I know my guests. And one of the things you're a film guy. You did you went to school for that. Very, very awesome. And I know you also do music. Yeah, but yeah. So I'm really intrigued by that, because obviously that's where a lot of my passions are as well. And coming from the Bronx, I think it's important that we tell stories that are I don't know, I don't want to be cliche. I don't like to tell stories that are cliche, you know what I mean? Like about the Bronx. I like to tell a story that people will be like, wait, he's Puerto Rican and he wrote this? You know what I mean? Like
the unexpected.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your style? Like what are you looking to, forward to? You're a young guy, so you got a huge career in front of you. What are you looking for to jump into?
So for me, and I'll tell you a little bit of my history growing up as a creative. I was always a creative growing up. I was always drawing. I was that little kid in the corner. I was raised in church. I was in the underneath the bancos, just drawing. So I was, I had the talent of illustration. I was drawing here and there. I was known as the art kid. High school, I graduated most artistic. Every grade, I won I won the art award, this and that. So I always knew that I wanted to do something in the arts, right? I always knew I wanted to be an artist, but I did not know how that looked, right? And I knew one thing for sure. I did not like the sentiment and the statement of a starving artist, right? Of like, because you want to do what you love, because you want to be an artist, then you have to suffer because, you can't find a job, you can't find this. So, and what I think that really, I was always an experimental type of dude, you know what I mean? I always trying to embark in new ventures, always trying to utilize new mediums, and just like, always creative, always trying to create, always trying to just do cool things, right? When I was in high school, when I really started dabbling in different mediums, right? Started doing graphic design. My friend gave me Photoshop. You know, I took a graphic design class in my high school. I started doing video. We started doing YouTube videos, comedy skits, parodies. I started playing bass. You already know, but you know the vibes. I started doing all of these things, and it was just me kind of just experimenting. Like, yo, what do I like doing? You know, what intrigues me the most? And actually, all of them intrigued me, right? The idea that you could be a multidisciplinary artist is pretty incredible to me, right? And it's something that intrigues me, and that I want to be that artist that can express himself through all these different platforms, all of these different mediums and art forms, right? Like I said, I started dabbling here and there, and I knew, you know, I was a good artist. I was a drawer. You know, I was one of the best in my high school. But for some reason, I was like, you know what? I don't think there's a future for me in illustration, right? It was too time consuming. It was, you know, of course, it was beautiful work that got people's attention and all this stuff, but for some reason I gravitated more towards graphic design and just the digital aspect of it, because you know, you kind of get, you know, we're living in this digital age, and you're like, okay, I could most likely find a future in graphic design, right? So I was doing photography as well. I was doing video. I was doing this. I was doing illustration, but I chose graphic design, and that's what I went to school for. And I think it's great, because I think graphic design can be applied to all those you know, when it comes to video, when it comes to illustration, all that, you know, it's just the concepts, and you're a problem solver and all this stuff. And I kind of, to be honest, you know, I love music and I love playing it, but I did have to choose between graphic design and music, right? So I went the graphic design route because I was getting more traffic like that. I was getting more eyes looking at me. And to be a musician, it's really hard, man. You got to practice a lot, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's people out here that are crazy. And I remember I was really involved in that scene, man. I used to go to the jam sessions. I used to go to, you know, whatever clubs the musicians were playing that night. New York City and the Bronx here and there, Brooklyn. I used to be in Brooklyn. But like I said, you know, I was like, you know what? I think graphic design is my thing. I'm gonna stick to this. And I started doing graphic design. I went to BCC, graduated design. I went to SVA, the School of Visual Arts, graduated with design and film. And you know, and also with a focus in like branding and marketing. And I basically, you know, implemented all these things together and put it into Bronx Native and made it, you know, the best I can. Yeah.
That is so awesome. So you said two things that I really want to touch upon, because I think that they're vital. One of them is the whole starving artist nonsense that gets put out there. You know, it is complete bullshit. That was, I don't know who back in the day created that crap, but there is nothing, no truth to that whatsoever. It is just something and it falls out of the tongue of artists all the time. And it does. It really is such a dangerous thing, because if you start saying stuff enough, you're going to be that, you know what I mean? You are what you put your attention on. And so if you constantly thinking about being a starving artist, man, you're going to starve your ass off. So for me, it's like super, I'm passionate about this, and I'm always constantly talking to young people, and I'm you know, the starving artist thing is just not, it's one of the things that I struggled with a little bit, not even so much early on. Early on, it was all music. I mean, I did music for most of my life. But I had a band, and one of the guitar players suddenly passed away, so it kind of broke up our little group. We had a good group, some songs on the radio, and we had a really good thing going and stuff. So after that happened, I started getting into film and acting. So, but then I got into directing and writing, and then I would always hear people say, and you probably heard it too, you know, you got to pick one thing, you got to focus your attention on one thing. And you know, and I still hear it all the time. You know, now look, I'm doing a talk show now.
I'm hearing it less now. Actually, I'm hearing.
Yeah, you know, you're right. I'm hearing it a lot less too. I think you know, the proof is in the pudding. The fact that I've shot films, written films, and been in, you know, done all that stuff. I think people could see that it's something that an artist is an artist, you know, and I think an artist creates, and that's what we do. And so I love that you brought those things up.
I think also the fact of people are seeing it less. I think it's because nowadays you have to, you know, the term master of none,
right?
It's basically you can do all these things, but you're not a master of one. But you can like doing all these things technically makes you a master, and it says a master of doing all these things, right?
You are. That's
absolutely. And I think nowadays, with everything technology wise, and I think all artists need to actually dabble in all these different things, right? They need to do all these things in order to be ahead of the game, because people out here doing everything and they killing it, man. You know, so.
Yeah. And also, if you look at back in, you know, I'm not this old, but if you go back to like the 40s when MGM and Warner Brothers and all those big, you know, they would actually sign these artists, and the artists had to know how to sing, how to dance, how to act. You know what I mean? They had to know how to do that. It was like you couldn't get to Hollywood if you didn't know how to do those 3 things.
That's crazy.
So they had all these classes, you know. So I feel the way it's going right now because of technology, like you said. I think it's kind of going back to that a little bit. And it's kind of forcing people to kind of look at all their skill sets. And you know, if you're a great, like I know I'm a great guitar player, and I'm a pretty good filmmaker. You know what I mean? But I'm a great guitar. I know I could play really, really well. But as a filmmaker, you know, but I'm getting better as a filmmaker. You know, I'm not giving up on that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that if you were, you know, if artists feel that that's what they want to do, they definitely should have the right to do that. And I'm glad that you're hearing it less about that. So Incorporated, you said that you had something in marketing. So obviously, because I mean, you've been really crushing it with Bronx Native. I mean, as far as like getting the press and getting people involved and getting celebrities and all that, you know, involved in your shop. How did you, when you kind of went for it, what was your thought process as far as marketing? Was it, I'm going to market the Bronx Native, or I'm going to open up a shop, or all together? What came first, the chicken or the egg?
That's a good question. Definitely not the shop. You know, we weren't even thinking about the shop. It just came to us.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. That was that just came to us, and I have the whole story. It was pretty. It's very organic. Very you know, blessings. So what came first? How did I want to market Bronx Native from the start? I mean, from the very beginning, we wanted to market Bronx Native as a brand, exactly for what we do now. You know what I mean? A brand that stands for the BX, that is trying to change the narrative, the stigma. A brand that tackles issues that we go on a day-to-day, you know, but also, you know, we create merch that empowers and identifies us. We create experiences that allows people to express themselves through platforms, physically, virtually, and all these different things. We knew from the start that we wanted Bronx Native definitely to be an ecosystem, you know, a creative ecosystem in all of these different things, music, merch, fashion, food, even food. You know, we've done events with food, health, all these things from the jump, because and it brings me back to that what we were talking about before about, you know, expressing yourself through all of these different platforms. I think one of the most beautiful things on earth, my man, is when you're able to express yourself through mixed mediums, right? Through all of these different things, and they all work together for one main thing, and they create something beautiful all together. And I think that's I feel like I just, you know, that was a weak explanation.
No, I totally got it.
Realize that all of these great things coming together to make one even greater thing. I think that's kind of the visualization that I'm thinking about. I have to you know, articulate it better, but I hope you understand what I'm talking about.
I totally got what you're saying. Yeah, and I feel that you know, with filmmaking, I made a film where I decided I was going to try to do every single thing in the film except be in it. That was the only thing I wasn't going to do. So I wrote it, cast it, shot it.
That's
with
tough.
me holding the camera, put sound, edited, made the music for it, and all that stuff. And yeah, it was really crazy. I'll never do it again, but I wanted to kind of do it just to kind of, and you're right, when you put all those mediums together and you realize, you sit down and you're like, oh yeah, I know how to do this.
Yeah,
you know, there's such a power to that.
That's my favorite part, man, and that's why I think I like even the market, because the marketing could be a little bit more like like, oh, suit and tie marketing, we're gonna advertise.
Right, right.
I don't see it that way. I see it as a part of the whole brand identity, right? Like, how are you going to market? Yeah. Like, what commercials are you going to make? You know what I mean? What are, if you're going to do guerrilla, marketing, like what you're going to post on the walls, and how does that tie into our main mission? So I see it as a whole, everything all together. And that's the way I see Bronx Native. That's the way I see a lot of things,
Yeah, I love that. So let's talk a little bit about the stigma that you mentioned, because there is, I mean, obviously when I was growing up, it was justified because it was a much rougher environment, and it was all over the media too. It wasn't like, thanks. We had presidents visit because apparently this place.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. I mean, it was really crazy. I mean,
how many? It was Carter, Reagan
came down, and just a bunch of other
politicians and stuff.
Politicians that were running for whatever they were running for. But all of them got yelled at basically because people were just so pissed off. Jimmy Carter was nice. I mean, they're both nice. Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan, they were nice. They came in to see what the hell is going on because this was all the media. Mm-hmm. So, but they got yelled at basically, and part of the reason I think it was just a frustration that for so many years the Bronx had been ignored. It had been treated like a stepson of the 5 boroughs, or not even a stepson, because stepsons are treated well, but it was just like a really bad kid, like just the
shadow, the ugly duckling.
The ugly duckling, right? So it was like really a shame, and it's been happening for a long year, a lot of years. Like the highways go through there, like asthma rates are super high in the Bronx. Obviously, when I was growing up, the violence and all that stuff. What kind of upbringing did you have in that environment? Because I mean, you're a lot younger, so you saw the better part of the Bronx, and you're seeing the uprising. The uprising. It's taken a long time. I got to tell you right now. I really thought that by now, that the Bronx would be. Was that me?
I think that was me. My bad.
Okay, I think I hit something too. I don't know, but I really think that I thought really that the Bronx by now would be like Williamsburg, Brooklyn or something. You know what I mean? And it's not there yet. It's getting there, but there's also a fear with a lot of people that live there that don't necessarily want that to happen, especially people that are living there and they've been there their whole lives. Yeah. What was your experience like?
I'm gonna be honest, and I'm very honest about this every time I talk about it. My life growing up in the Bronx, being born and raised in the Bronx, was incredible. It was beautiful. I wasn't like you said, we've been experiencing change, and I was born in a time when there wasn't as much violence, there wasn't as much of these things that other people have experienced, and I'm grateful for that. Yeah. But
I did want to add just one thing. I did have a good upbringing too. I mean, despite I was raised with my grandparents, and despite what was going around me, they kind of sheltered me and helped me kind of not see so much of that. When I got older,
To be honest, me too. Like I said in the beginning, I was raised in the church, Pentecostal household. My church was one block away from my building. So it was something. I didn't have to look to the streets. I didn't have to do anything that was out of line or whatever, because I had community with my church, with my neighbors, with my family, and it was beautiful, right? Around, Longwood, Hunts Point. I went to P62 on Southern Boulevard. Great experience, great elementary school. I had some great professors that I still remember to this time that shaped me and taught me a lot of stuff. I went to St. Ignatius, a small Jesuit school in Hunts Point, Monida Street. Beautiful school. Literally 10 kids in my class. The whole school had literally 35 kids. It was 7th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and each class literally had about 10 kids, bro. Wow. So it was hyper, They paid attention. They went on trips. They taught us the right thing. And you know, being raised in church, you know, I think one of the great, most amazing things about that is the values that are instilled on you, right? When you grow up, and these things that you hear about, and this and that. And I think that's something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life, right? Another thing, let me see. Then I went to Cardinal Hayes High School, a private Catholic school, Archdiocese on Grand Concourse. Loved the experience as well. Incredible school, allowed me to express myself. I literally took an art class every single year that I was in high school. My art professors, you know, there are people that I still talk to now, right? After that, I had a little senioritis here and there, boom, boom. You know, I wanted really to go straight to SVA, the School of Visual Arts, but it wasn't possible. So I went to BCC, Bronx Community College. And I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't too happy about that. It was kind of like a last choice and stuff. And you know, because Bronx Community College, to be honest, doesn't get the best rap out of all the CUNY schools, this and that. You know, I was hearing all these stories, and I was a little, you know, down about that. But one of the best experiences of my life, my man. It was a stepping stone. Those professors pushed me. They believed in me. They gave me internships. They gave me jobs. If you put in the work, and people see your passion and motivation, they will create stairs for you. They will create ladders for you, man. Right. And that's exactly what I did, man. You know, when I was in college in the beginning, I feel like a lot of people tend to get very lazy. Oh, they could do whatever they want now, this and that. So I got a little, you know, this and that. And I went to BCC, and my first year I was a slacker, I'm gonna be honest, right? And my professors were always like, man, you got so much talent. What are you doing? This and that, this and that. And then it just kind of just snapped in my, like, it was just like from one day to another. I said, what am I doing? I am a bum. I have to get up and I have to get to work, bro. What am I, like, this is what I want to do. It's just like, I always knew I wanted to do these incredible things, great things in my life, you know, but sometimes you get sidetracked, this and that, this and that. So that was a turning point. When I was in BCC, it was a very turning point in my life. When I said, bro, I got potential, bro. I could do this. I could do some fire stuff, bro. So when I was in BCC, that was incredible. Like I said, they allowed me to express myself. Loved my professors there. And I started and then I graduated in 2014. So 2014, I was out of BCC, got my associates, and I could take over the world, right? And I said, what are the two most things I want in my whole life, right? I want to create my first business. I want to be a business person. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to create a studio, which I did. GET Studios LLC, which is a creative agency that provides multimedia services for clientele, graphic design, video production, marketing, branding, collateral, all that stuff. A one-stop shop. You come to me, we'll do it all. You know what I mean? And I wanted to go to SVA. I wanted to experience how was it, because actually until now, all my educational career and all my educational journey was in the Bronx my whole life. So I kind of wanted to experience, okay, how is it outside of the Bronx? You know, how is it with these new demographic, a new perspective, a couple of, you know what I mean? And I said, even though, you know, private school, I still got student loans, blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that risk, man. I'm a firm believer. You got to take risk, man. You got to do it. So I took that risk. I said, I'm going to do the two hardest things in my life. Join one of the most competitive, best art schools in the city and start my own business. And that's exactly what I did, man. 2014, bro. And, wow. And it was incredible, bro. I did not sleep. I'm going to keep it a buck. I was, you know, SVA has 24-hour labs. So I was literally in those labs 24/7 working. I had a small team that I connected with over there, and I had another turning moment at SVA, and that turning moment was when I decided to really represent the Bronx the way I knew I should, you know, and that's another story. I've already been talking for too long, but basically,
no way.
to answer your question, I had a pretty, you know, like I said, you know, it was a single home. You know, my mom took care of me and my sister, but she was an incredible mom. And it was beautiful, you know, and I learned, everything. I learned from the church. I learned from the streets. I learned from the Bronx. I learned from the people. I learned from everybody. And it shaped who I am now. So, and I'm grateful for every single day. And I will not take anything back ever.
Right. Love it. So, I mean, one of the, you know, religion is really important. I grew up, you know, my grandma was like super Catholic. So I would go to church every Sunday, you know, and she was not only Catholic, but she was like one of the, I don't even know the names, but it was like, she was one of la Santa Maria de la Las Mujeres de la Santa Maria, I don't know, it was some long title she had, and she like wore white, and she had like, she wore red, you know, and she sat in another section of the church where I couldn't even. Yeah, she was like there was like a group, it was like a little gang in the church, and so she always, you know, instilled that in me, and I always had, you know, faith and spirit, you know, spirituality in my life, and I think you're right, it does, you know, I went to St. John's Chrysostom Catholic school, and then I went to Monsignor Scanlon, you know, high school. I didn't stay there. I stayed like a year after I had like some fight with a nun. It's another story. I'll tell that story later. May she rest in peace, because I'm sure she's not around now. But
yeah, you know. That's funny.
So then I went to Monroe High School, which was like, you know, I could have just gone to Vietnam in the 60s, because that place was like nuts. But I went there, and I had you know, it was rough. You know, I had a rough time. Yeah. But I always was creative. I was always playing music. I was a kind of a ghetto celebrity break dancer. I danced with like a lot of shows and stuff like that. But the reason I'm talking about this is because all those experiences that you have, you know, with family and religion and those kind of things, you know, they do one thing. For me anyway, they make me clear-headed. You know, like for some reason, like because I had this idea of, you know, spirit, you know, God and Christianity and my grandma watching, and my grandpa, and wanting to, and their respect, wanting to get there. And by the way, my mom was very involved in my life as well, and she was awesome. So I didn't want to mess up because of them. And so it made me very aware of my actions. So I knew when I was, like you said, you know, the hardest thing, what you just did, you said, man, what am I doing? I'm a bum. I got to start doing that. You don't know how hard that is for people to do sometimes. I'm talking about all ages, right? They just continue on the path of like screwing up. And it's a big thing.
It was literally from one day to another, man. Yeah. I was like,
and that's huge.
I can't remember that. I can't remember that one day. I can't remember the day, but I just know it was from one day to another. Like I was bumming it. I was like, I don't like. And then I just like hit the turbo. I turned myself on. I said, yeah. What the, bruh? And I went in, bro.
Yeah.
I was we were one of the, you know, I had a little crew in BCC, and we were like the top designers, the top artists in there. Was good. And it wasn't about the talk. It was about the work. We were really putting in the work, you know. And one of I don't know if you follow the Bronxer. He has a Bronx page. Check him out. His name is Alex Rivera's, the Bronxer. He's like a Bronx influencer.
I might. I follow a lot of Bronx people, so maybe
I went to BCC with him, and he was part of the crew. You already know, so we was there chilling. We was doing stuff. And I think a lot of people need that realization. You know what I mean? And need that push, because it's so much untapped potential, man. And especially with our youth, man. These kids are extremely smart, bro. Mm-hmm. Like I go to these high schools, I go to these elementaries, I go to these middle schools, and I talk to these kids, and they're over here asking college level questions. They're over here. I remember I went to a middle school, and a kid goes, "Hey, I have a question." Hey, a middle schooler. This is what he asked me. He said, "Hey, like what you're doing is great, like great job for you. But don't you think what you're doing initiates gentrification and allows more other businesses from other whatever like come in and disrupt that? I was like,
you're like, sit down.
Oh my God. I mean, I wanted to say, okay, relax. This is not that type of talk. I'm here. But I was like, bro, you kids are thinking, bro. I went to this was an elementary school. And I went and it was great. Shout out to Mott Hall. They have a bunch of schools here in the Bronx, and they are incredible establishments for the youth out there. One of the best schools that I went to. And all of these kids had a poem. They wrote like Bronx poems, right? To recite to me. And I mean, first of all, that's incredible. Like, wow, okay, that they acknowledge the Bronx, and they want, you know. And not only that they acknowledge it, that they know that when I was that age, I wasn't thinking about like, oh, the Bronx, and I wasn't thinking about, I was just playing with little toys, this and that, like, you know, drawing with crayons. These kids are thinking critically, you know, these kids are aware of what's happening around them, and they're creating solutions from an early age, you know, and that's why I think that they're the future. And I think that's why one of the most effective ways to change the narrative and to change the stigma is to continually plant seeds and to cultivate our future, our youth, because eventually they will be the ones here doing this talk show, talking to the next, you know what I mean? While we're going to be over there like, oh, damn, our time, you know what I mean? I'm going to do this forever, so I'm never going to stop, you know?
I ain't going anywhere. Hey, I remember that guy.
I remember that. No, but these kids is extremely smart, and they need, you know, if I pushed anyone, it's a great achievement for me. You know what I mean? I want our people to grow, and I want our people to know they can be entrepreneurs, they can be bosses, they can be they can be wealthy people. They can make it in the Bronx. You don't have to leave the Bronx to make it. You know what I mean? You don't have to, you know, you're not, yes, we are products of our environment, but we do not let our environment dictate our future and dictate where we're going. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yes,
that's what I gotta say, man. That's
I love it. So, mic drop, right? So, I mean, I do feel the same exact way. I mean, growing up, one of the things that, you know, music for me obviously just got me, you know, really out of that environment. But I remember always thinking, because remember, it was a different time. It was the Bronx was burning, and then like '79, it burnt. It was done. It was like our building and a couple other ones, and
bro, that was it. I listened to the stories, and I want to hear all the stories because I think it's and. You know, and I'm not trying to like, you know, I truly, genuinely commend you guys. You know what I mean? For going through the experiences that you guys went to, because burning buildings and like, just imagine, like, I think about, like, imagine me right now going outside the window and looking at mad burnt buildings. Yeah. Like, bro, that's insane. Like, that's a war. That's like, and we're in America, New York City.
I know. You know, one of the things that I think I mentioned this to you last time when we spoken about, one of the images that I have was as like I don't know, 5 years old, going to the window every night. It seemed like it was every night, going on and looking out and seeing where the fire is tonight, and then saying, oh, there it is. Oh, there's that, you know, and that image of that fireman, and he's like literally leaning over the building with the hose, and he's holding the hose. And I remember thinking, I was young, but I must have known something about physics, because I knew that if he had the hose, right, that this is the hose, and if he's like this and that hose stops, he's going down.
Oh wait, he's literally holding himself.
He's leaning, dude. This is the edge. This is the edge. This is the edge of the building. This is the building right here that's burning. He is like this, leaning over with the hose, putting down this building, turning down the fire.
Holding him up.
The pressure is holding him up. So he's leaning over and
fireman was,
dude, that guy was a rock star. I was looking at that guy like, oh my God, that's and so anyway, I remember watching these fires and stuff, and you know, one of the things that really did it for me was, one, I didn't listen to the environment. You know, I was in the environment, but I wasn't the environment. You know, like I knew that I wasn't what was going on around me. I knew that whatever I was up here, and it was more of a spiritual guidance than anything. Another thing was music really helped me kind of, and that's why, like what you said earlier, the talent of some of these kids that are living in there are incredible. You know, now one of the things that I talk about also, which is a little controversial, is the fact that we get a lot of politicians coming in and telling us how bad off we are and how we need so much help. So I remember politicians coming in, I mean, presidents, and saying, hey, you guys, you know, you're suffering, you're struggling, you guys we're here to help you. Here's some free cheese, you know, here's whatever else we got, you know, here's free this, here's free that, you know, we're gonna give you money for the household, but your husband or man can't be in the house. So let's break up families, right? Which happened by the millions, right? And now we don't have a man in the house as much as we used to growing up. So all these things happen, and this is all documented stuff. I'm not like preaching just whatever I think. This is all documented stuff.
Whoever's gonna watch this or whoever's watching, check out the Decade of Fire documentary.
Yes,
explains the whole decade of and that was incredible doc.
Yeah, exactly. So so one of the things that actually I'll put that link in the description below. Anybody wants to check that out, I'll put up obviously all of your stuff as well. But that documentary is something that really should be watched by everyone, because, you know, we've been lied to a lot, and I think that it's something that for us to really grow and to get our people to really do the work that they're capable of doing and really commanding a lot of what's going on around us, we have to get people like you and people like me that go out and actually talk and motivate these kids, and really don't let them believe that they're stuck in that environment. You know, wherever they are, they have a opportunity to get out, and there are programs out there. But you said it best earlier. If you put in the work, there are opportunities for you. If you put in work, and the work is hard. The work is hard. You know what I mean?
It's handed to you. Nothing in life is easy. You can think, oh, maybe that's like low-key easy. I think that's easier than that. Nothing in life is easy. That's something that I'm learning currently. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's so simple.
I know exactly. I totally communicate. I know. It's true because, well, I mean, again, growing up, this was the attitude. You know, we're gonna give you stuff so that things will be easy for you. And what happens to a whole culture that you make it easy for them? Well, then they don't put their bootstraps up and go out and do shit.
I just saw a quote by Malcolm X, right? And the quote said something that he said. I mean, I'm gonna butcher this, but the basic idea was, it said, white people will give you temporary victories, like, oh yeah, here's some cheese, here's some this, you know what I mean, instead of giving you equality, freedom, and all these things. You know, the quote was talking about how he would just how they just give you small little things to distract you from what you really should be having. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's exactly, and I correlated it with what you said. You know, when the politicians were coming, and there's an incredible photo of two burned down buildings that I'm sure you saw it, that says "Broken Promises."
Oh yeah.
Falsas promesas. Right. It's in Spanish and in English, and that's a pot. And we made a hoodie about it, and it has the photo in the back, right? And that's reality, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's reality. They hit us with these things, but they don't care about us, bro.
And one of the things that I wanted to also add to that is that there's this broad general consensus that it's white people. You know, and I believe that
I said white people, but I meant, you know.
No, I know, but there are white, but there are these small groups of organized groups that will go out and do these things. I mean, this is also like some crazy. I don't want to get too much into this because it's a rabbit hole that.
I kind of started it. My bad.
No. No. But I wanted to say that only because I have so many friends from
My
black,
bad.
white, but
No, no,
you know.
I just want to say for disclosure, I mean, I'm inclusive to all.
But
I love all human beings. You already
no, dude, you don't have to say that.
My people is my people. That's all I got to say. All right.
But listen, you don't have to say that. It's not even an issue. You quoted Malcolm X, so his attitude is much more straightforward. The white man, you know what I mean, and that's totally legit. You know what I mean. So it's not like you weren't quoting yourself; you were quoting somebody. So, but I wanted to just put that there because growing up, I had the attitude that like, man, white man trying to keep you down. You know, white man, you know, until I got into music and I started playing in bands and I started going into New York and just meeting a bunch of white people that played in bands. And then I started, going to church and just that whole vibe. It kind of made me see, well, it's not white people. There must be some type of group. There's some agenda. And my personal opinion is, and I think I'll end off with this so we don't go into that rabbit hole, but my personal opinion is that we are so powerful. We are so powerful. I'm talking about Puerto Ricans, just Puerto Ricans. I mean, the blacks, of course, are as well, and they've proven it, right? I mean, look at the music, look at everything that they've accomplished in sports, music. The most powerful. But the Puerto Ricans are so powerful. I feel that there is a fear, that all that talent is going to come out, and it has to be somewhat controlled. This is me talking crazy, but I feel that is actually what's happening, and that we've been lied to for many years, and we've been told that you're from the Bronx. I mean, how many times do I have to hear I'm from the South Bronx? How many times do I got to hear that bullshit that you're from the South Bronx? Oh man, give me a freaking break. You know what I mean? I'm here right now in front of you. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm on set as a director and I hear it, and I'm like, dude, I'm directing you. Why are you telling me that you know what I mean? And I'm hearing people like, oh man, you're from the Bronx, man. That's crazy. And it's like, yeah, it was crazy surviving it, but it's not like that now. And I hate to have that stigma, and I would love to really be able to squash that once and for all, where people talk about the Bronx as like it used to be, and now it's amazing. And that's what I want people to say. It used to be, and now it's amazing, because I don't want to forget our history either.
I was not here in the Bronx during those times, right?
Yeah.
But I think what was happening in the Bronx during those times, there was beauty to it. You know what I mean? The fact that we were put down, the fact that we were put aside and all these things, and we still created all of these incredible things, right? Of course, hip hop. I mean, I say of course because I always say it, but it's not a small thing,
No, it's
huge. Hip hop encapsulates b-boying, graffiti, fashion. It's a state of mind. It's all of these different things. You know what I mean?
I saw it be born.
Salsa, right? All of these different cultures coming together in the Bronx to make incredible music. Doo-wop, all of these things, And that's why I think the story of the Bronx is not just about the Bronx, man. It's about disenfranchised communities. It's about immigrants, survivors, people of color, people that come here and are oppressed. But even through the struggle, man, we come up, we unite, man, and we make it happen. And that's what immigrants is about. That's what we are about. We are hustlers. We as workers, we are survivors, man. We are ambitious. We created all of this. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and when you said that you think there's an agenda, the Puerto Ricans are strong. Yes, that's a fact. Of course. What do you think they had the Jones Act? You know what I mean? What do you think they taxed the, they keep in that's sad what America is still doing to Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Puerto Rico is powerful, man. You guys are just lit. You guys are out here. You guys been out here for a minute. You know what I mean? And for America to still have their claws in that island and stuff, like, I don't think, and all the stuff that's been happening with the governors and all this stuff, it's a little here and there, but it's the same thing they try to do to African Americans. Of course, when they came, 400 years ago, they were slaves. It's the same thing that they try to do with immigrants, refugees, this and that. It's just like, and it's not, I'm not trying to bash America. Is a beautiful country. I'm here. I'm American. I was born here. But it's about I think it boils down kind of to classism, right? It's the elites, these people that think they're better than everyone, they're gonna get whatever they want. And these, they're not with us.
They control it too.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And of course, most likely they're white because bam, 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 you know, boom. That's why, you know, but you are extremely correct. We are powerful as a unit. We are powerful as a people. America is scared of us. And that's why they tried all those things. They tried, but we're in 2020, all right? This is a new world. This is a new normal, right? We're standing up. I think this is a beautiful time to live in, because I feel like we're seeing,
I agree,
the rise of our people. We're seeing the rise of equality, of justice that we should already be given being here in America. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think we're also seeing what those groups with agendas being exposed.
Oh yeah, like
the hypocrisy.
Staying silent.
It's coming up. So I always thought that the enemy was wide open, and there they are, but they're not. The enemy is hidden, and that to me is like, now they're being exposed, and the hypocrisy. And you're right. You know, you said something interesting about the Bronx being that time being beautiful, and you know, when you're in it, obviously, you know, you're walking through whatever, and all this craziness is going on. But as you look back,
was born, bro. That's crazy, dude. Hip hop, dude, the most heard genre right now. That's what everyone bumps, like, and it started right here, bro.
Yeah, I remember
that. That's crazy for me.
And I remember walking down the street one day. I was a kid, and I heard this guy on his stoop, and he was like doing this thing. You know, I didn't know what he was doing, and it was like he was rapping, you know, and you know, it was so I remember all those times. But you know, when you look back at it now looking back at the fires and all the hip hop and everything, it's this beautifully crafted novel, you know, that has like such potential for beauty, because it is the uprise, it is the you know, the rising, and you know, coming from adversities and overcoming adversities and all these different things that it represents, and it represented for everyone, you know. And it's like that, like
diamonds, bro. You know what I mean?
We had enough pressure, and now now we're shining, and people are like, "Ay, Dios mío, look."
That's
J-Lo,
it, man.
Mark Anthony, Ricky Martin,
a diamond. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and that's and anyone who goes through real struggle and real like anguish and all these things, that's you being polished. You know, that's you getting. You know, I believe that, and I take this from me in my life. Every time I'm going to a very tough time, and a very, you know, I mean, of course, no one loves tough, you know, no one loves problems. No one likes those things. Going through it is tough. It's just like, damn, this sucks, right?
Right.
But always in the back of my mind, I always think about, I know I'm gonna be better after this. You know,
right?
I know I'm gonna be smarter. I know I'm gonna be this. Excuse me. I know I'm gonna come out stronger, better, faster. You know.
Yeah.
And I always look forward to that. You know. So everyone out there, man, stay up. Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that we have to kind of communicate to the young people, that when they're going through stuff, just let them know that better times are ahead, and that you're gonna be better for those things that you're going through. It's gonna make you stronger, and you're gonna be able to help somebody else and make that person stronger as well.
Right now, too, with everything going on, man, you know, it was extremely. I think the toughest 3 months of my life. You know what I mean?
Man, yeah, I can't even imagine
going on. You know, it was you know, personally, you know, I lost my my father, COVID, financially.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, yeah. I did know that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, yes. Condolences, man.
Thank you, Bertie. Thank you. My best friend, partner, had COVID, but he survived. You know, that was something beautiful. Mentally, right? All the strains of, what about my business? You know, COVID. This, that, America, and then, you know, Black Lives Matter, inequality, all of these things scare, like, you know, it's tough, bro. You know, at the end of the day, we are all humans, and we all and it was really hard, and just adapting every day, right? Not sleeping, trying to figure it out, like, okay, how are we gonna come out of this? But always in the back of my mind, I said, you know what, this cannot be for nothing. You know,
right.
I cannot be going through all of this just to continue going through this forever. You know what I mean? I'm an extremely positive person, optimistic individual, and now we're in a better state. You know, and I want to thank everyone out there. We're in a better state. But these past 3 months has been, like I said, and I've said it on social and everything, that the toughest 3 months of my life. In all, because it affected me in all sides, right? The entrepreneur me, the creative me, right? The focus, family, personal, mentally, financially, and it's just like all of that on top. It's just like, you know, it's insane. But we here, Brody. We here.
You're here, yeah, and you're grateful that it happened when you were young.
I wouldn't turn back. You know, I'm grateful.
You know, and it happened, and you overcame it, and you know, yeah, I mean, you know, you're one of these guys that I see do like amazing things. Honestly, I mean, I really think that you are really the answer to the Bronx, you know, and your attitude and the way you carry yourself and the way you communicate your message. I think it's powerful, and it's the reason why it's going to be better in the Bronx. Because when I talk to you, if you were your age, we were the same age in the 70s or in the 80s, mainly the 80s, because I was a teenager in the 80s, right? You would not be talking the way you're talking. You know what I mean? It'd be
we're a product of our environment, my man.
Yeah, and the fact that you're actually saying the things that you're saying, and that you're there and you're carrying that that torch for positivity is really it gives me so much hope for the Bronx. And
bro,
as I've always said,
stop until I die. All right? I sleep when I'm dead. I didn't even sleep last night. You know, I'm out here, bro.
Yeah, you know what? There's no reason to even stop when you're dead. That is just a physical thing. You know
I'm not. My legacy is gonna continue.
That's just physical, man. Yeah, you're gonna go on. Dude, I want to thank you so much. Let's talk a little bit real quickly. We can almost coming up to an hour, but let's talk a little bit about your shop. I want to actually, if you don't mind, I want to share your shop real quick. I wanted to do this earlier, but you know how we do. We get into
the combos.
We got into like suddenly we're like having a political conversation. So this is the Bronx Native, which, you know, I've been talking about this with a few of my guests about the cleanness of the websites, because I really like when you go to a website and you get right there and nothing pops up in your face and you don't get a whole bunch of like stuff, you know. And I love this website because it's very clean. And there it is, you know. I mean, you know, you got your Black Lives Matter t-shirts. I love that you have the masks. That's really cool.
You already know.
And yeah, I mean, it's just great merchandise. Anybody out there, you know, you don't have to be from the Bronx to wear the Bronx, to support the Bronx, because like we said, the Bronx doesn't only represent the Bronx. You know, the Bronx really, the Bronx struggle and what happened with the Bronx really represents every single person, everyone that's been through a tough time and was able to come out on the other side. Every adversity that we all face, it's all Bronx related, and you can support the Bronx and support this page because it really is a wonderful thing, and it just spreads so much positivity. So do you have anything to say about the site?
About the website? Actually, I want to say we got some updates coming in, so stay tuned. We're going to revamp the website. It is dope. It's clean and all that good stuff. But we got to change up some stuff, and it's going to look better, and we're trying to tackle all fields. You know what I mean? We're trying to have a strong online, a strong shop, a strong social, a strong all of this, you know. So we're gonna soon be working on our website, revamping it, new products, new this, new that. So stay tuned, guys.
I love it. I'm gonna be heading over to you at some point, and I'm gonna stock up on some Bronx stuff. I'm gonna probably do that next couple of weeks if you're there. What was that?
You gonna come through?
I'm gonna go there. Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Let me know. Hit me up.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. Probably, I would say the next week or so. You know, depending how things are going. I don't know. I mean, I think I haven't been to New York since this whole thing, and I would go to New York 2 or 3 times a week. So I haven't been to New York since March, whatever the hell. So like, I don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get.
It's good, but it's good. It was bad for a minute, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. New Yorkers, we the vibes. We made it happen. We got the map. You know, I don't know if you're seeing the other states rising up in, you know, which is not good. I'm not happy about that. But I am happy that New York City made it happen. You know, we all got our masks. We all taken the right precautions, and our numbers have been going lower and lower and lower. So I'm happy about that, and that's that New York power, man. That's that New York grind, that New York hustle, man.
Oh yeah,
Nothing like New Yorkers out here, man.
Yeah. New Yorkers are tough. Love it. All right, man. Listen, I want to thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the work that you're doing. As always, any help that you need from me, any video equipment, cameras, I got a bunch of stuff, bro, whatever you need.
Bro, actors. I got a little light. I got a little mic.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good, man. Yeah. So thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it. And we will definitely talk soon. I'll be over there and I'll do maybe I'll go live or something on my page and show them.
We'll go live. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. You got it.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me again. Keep it up, my man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Up every day, I appreciate all your stories and everything we chatted about. All right. So thank you so much. And real quick, can I get a
yeah? I'm getting better at it.
That was good.
All right, man. Take care, man. Peace. Oh man, what a great conversation. What a great guy. I'm super excited for the work that he's doing right now. You know, coming from the Bronx, you don't really realize that you're going to be here so many years later and you're going to see somebody taking such powerful action and such steps in the right direction with such a great attitude and just great knowledge on what is the right thing to do. And he's just doing it, you know, he's just doing it. And for me, this is like one of the most powerful conversations that I've had on this show so far, because it really represents me. It represents my brother, my sisters, my mom, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles. It's all of us that were there during that rough time. And now we're able to like look back and see, you know, people like Amaurys, you know, being there and doing his best to really get things. I mean, just a really inspiring guy. So Amaurys Grullon, please check him out. Bronx Native. Thank you all so much. If you like these interviews, remember, always subscribe to my channel. Hit the little bell so we remind you, and then share it if you think this will be valuable to one of your friends. And as always, I'll see y'all tomorrow night for Music Makers with Break Time, and that'll be at 9:30 live. So thank you so much, everyone. And as always, peace.